Hello, I'm Surinder Deol, welcoming you to the 300th birthday anniversary of Urdu's greatest poet, Mir Taqi Mir. Mir was born in February 1723 in Akrabad, as Agra was known then. He was named Mir Muhammad Taqi, and when he grew up, he chose Mir as his takhallas. Mir's ancestors had migrated to India from Hijaz in Iran a few generations ago. When Mir was about 18 years old, he fell in love with a girl who was already married, but because she was part of the family, she did not observe parda from him. This love affair caused great deal of suffering to both the lovers. Mir did not talk about this love affair in his book Zikr Mir or to anyone, the repression of which ripped his heart apart, and this wound of unrequited love and whatever psychic imprint the madness left behind, he carried with him all his life. But we find hints of this relationship in his Masnavis, Muamalat-e-Ishq and Khwab-o-Khayal. Mid-1750s was a very difficult time for people living in Delhi. Four Mughal emperors occupied the throne between 1719 and 1760. Each one of them was either killed or overthrown. Nadir Shah's invasion of 1739 crippled the city, but a greater calamity befell when Ahmad Shah Abdali, another barbarian invader, conquered North India in 1747. Mir devotes a large portion of Zikr Mir describing these invasions and wars that were fought, as well as his own acquaintances with the main characters involved in these calamities. Mir left Delhi for Lucknow in 1782 when Shah Alam II was the Mughal emperor. As Mir reached the outskirts of Lucknow, he might have made a stopover in a sarai. He came to know that a mushaira was being held in the city. He wrote a ghazal and joined other poets on the stage. But his unusually formal attire, his sword, a lancet, and pointed shoes evoked remarks by onlookers. Mir was tired and disheartened because of the stress of the travel and the grief of leaving Delhi, a city that he loved very much. He didn't say anything and sat in a corner. When his turn came for reciting his poetry, the host asked him to say a few words about his whereabouts. Mir read the heartrending couplets of a katha to start his recitation that beautifully captured the devastation of Delhi and explained the reason for being in Lucknow at that time. This is what he said. क्या बूदो बात पूछते हो पूरब के साकनों, हमको गरीब जान के हंसस पुकार के, दिल्ली जो एक शहर था आलम में इंतखाब, रहते थे मुंतखब ही जहाँ रोजगार के, उसको फलक ने लूट के वीरान कर दिया, हम रहने वाले हैं उसी उजड़े दयार के. How can I tell you my whereabouts, O residents of the East? You consider me an alien, as you laughingly inquire about my whereabouts. Delhi was once considered as one of the finest cities of the world, and only cultured and highly sophisticated people lived there. The heavens robbed it, and the devastation followed. I am the resident of the same ruined place. Firaq Gorakhpuri, the great progressive Urdu poet, played an essential role in reviving interest in Mir's poetry several years before partition. He was inspired by the elements of Shingara Rasa, the flavor of romantic love, which is also called the mother of all flavors of ancient Indian tradition in Mir's poetry. He also maintained that Mir's poetry echoed the voice of humankind. He wrote, and I quote, "When Mir puts his hand on his heart, we get the feeling that he has placed his hand on the heart of all humanity. Our Mir thus becomes Mir of the whole world." Unquote. Every great Urdu poet, including Ghalib, has written a couplet honoring Mir as a pioneer and a trailblazer. Here is a couplet by poet Zauq, Ghalib's contemporary and the one who was the last court poet of the last Mughal king, Bahadur Shah Zafar. Na hua par na hua, Mir ka andaz naseeb. Na hua par na hua, Mir ka andaz naseeb. Zauq yaron ne bahut zor ghazal mein mara. We tried, but were never able to capture Mir's voice, although Zauq and friends achieved much in the field of ghazal writing. Of course, we do remember how Mirza Ghalib reminded himself about the work of Mir, who died when Mirza was just 13 years old. Rekhte ke tumi ustad nahi ho Ghalib. Rekhte ke tumi ustad nahi ho Ghalib. कहते हैं अगले ज़माने में कोई मीर भी था. You are not the sole virtuoso of the craft of Rekhta, Ghalib. People say that in the times gone by, there was a poet called Mir. I would like to divide this tribute in 4 parts, strictly following Professor Gopichand Narang Sahab's remarkable book about Mir Taqi Mir's life and his work titled The Hidden Garden, published by the Penguin India in 2021, which I translated into English. These 4 divisions are: number 1, Mir as a poet of countless delights. Number 2, Mir as a poet of deceptive simplicity. Number 3, Mir as a delightful synthesizer of Persian and Rekhta. Number 4, Mir as Urdu's first complete poet. Let us start with Mir as a poet of countless delights. Right from the beginning, Mir had a feeling that he was different from other poets. His creativity was such that even in his younger years, he was writing couplets that were distinctive. This distinguishing characteristic became his hallmark in later years. As Narang Sahab reminds us of time and again, Mir can't be understood at the surface level. Let us take note of some delightful couplets. गली में उसकी गया सो गया न बोला फिर. गली में उसकी गया सो गया न बोला फिर. मैं मीर मीर कर उसको बहुत पुकार रहा. I went to her lane. It did happen. Didn't say a word. I called Mir, Mir. An echo of silence. No response. किन नींदों अब तू सोती है ए चश्मे गिरिया नाक. किन नींदों अब तू सोती है ए चश्मे गिरिया नाक. मिज़गा तो खोल शहर को सैलाब ले गया. What kind of sleep are you having? Open your tear-filled eyes. The flood has swept away the city. Mir had great mastery over the use of long beher. Let us look at this couplet. आलम आलम इश्को जनू है, दुनिया दुनिया तू मत है. आलम आलम इश्को जनू है, दुनिया दुनिया तू मत है. दरिया दरिया रोता हूं मैं, सहरा सहरा वहशत है. The world is filled with love and reckless passion. The whole thing looks like someone's thought with nothing that is real. When I cry, it feels rivers are flowing. There is nothing but gay abandon and wilderness. पढ़ते फिरेंगे गलियों में इन रेख्तों को लोग. पढ़ते फिरेंगे गलियों में इन रेख्तों को लोग. मुद्दत रहेंगी याद ये बातें हमारियां. The people will keep singing these verses, going through the streets and habitats. What I have said will keep echoing forever. Mir was essentially a poet of sharing and listening. Often he compared his verse to telling a story or a ram kahani. Let's look at this couplet. फुर्सते ख्वाब नहीं जिक्र बुता में हमको. फुर्सते ख्वाब नहीं जिक्र बुता में हमको. रात दिन राम कहानी सी सुना करते हैं. I don't have time for a dream as I talk about that beautiful idol. This is such an enticing story of my love that Mir keeps repeating day and night. There is a notion that Mir is a poet of 72 lancet. This is essentially very unfair to him. The statement ascribed by some to Rekhta became famous, giving rise to the impression that there is nothing much of value in Mir beyond the count of 72 or so-called lancet couplets. So let's look at this couplet. जलवा है मुझी से लबे दरियाए सुखन पर. जलवा है मुझी से लबे दरियाए सुखन पर. सद रंग मेरी मौज है मैं तबे रवा हूं. All the spectacles on the lips of the river owe their origin to me. My tide has 100 colors. I am always surging and creatively flowing. And look at this beautiful couplet. डूबे उछले है आफताब हनूज. डूबे उछले है आफताब हनूज. कहीं देखा है उसको दरिया पर. The sun is leaping and vaulting till today. Maybe it saw her bathing on the river. खिलना कम कम कली ने सीखा है. खिलना कम कम कली ने सीखा है. उसकी आंखों की नीम ख्वाबी से. खिलना कम कम कली ने सीखा है. उसकी आंखों की नीम ख्वाबी से. The bud opens slowly, very slowly. Who do you think she learned it from? From my beloved's half-open dreamy eyes, of course. हम हुए तुम हुए कि मीर हुए, हम हुए तुम हुए कि मीर हुए, उसकी जुल्फों के सब असीर हुए। हम हुए तुम हुए कि मीर हुए, उसकी जुल्फों के सब असीर हुए। Whether it is you or I or simply Mir, we are all prisoners of her tresses. गूंद के गोया पत्ती गुल की, गूंद के गोया पत्ती गुल की वो तरकीब बनाई है, गूंद के गोया पत्ती गुल की वो तरकीब बनाई है। रंग बदन का तब देखो जब चोली भीगे पसीने में। After kneading petals of roses, a concoction was prepared. That is the color of her skin when her blouse is soaking with her sweat. सख्त काफिर था जिसने पहले मीर, सख्त काफिर था जिसने पहले मीर मजहब इश्क इख्तियार किया। What a couplet! सख्त काफिर था जिसने पहले मीर मजहब इश्क इख्तियार किया। He was solidly a kafir, the one who embraced in the beginning the religion of love. Let us now come to the second part, Mir as a poet of deceptive simplicity. Mir selected a mode of expression that connected him with the people, but he molded it metaphorically into a deep structure, creative language. He was using conversation language, but at the same time he chiseled it as a fine-cut diamond that made it distinctive. Let us look at few couplets. जुल्फ सा पेचदार है हर शेर, जुल्फ सा पेचदार है हर शेर, है सुखन मीर का अजब ढबका। जुल्फ सा पेचदार है हर शेर, है सुखन मीर का अजब ढबका। Every share is like the ringlet of the beauty's curly tresses. Mir's verses of different class. कहा मैंने कितना है गुल का सबात, कहा मैंने कितना है गुल का सबात, कली ने ये सुनकर तबस्सुम किया। कहा मैंने कितना है गुल का सबात, कली ने ये सुनकर तबस्सुम किया। I asked the rosebud, how long is the life of a flower? The bud listened and smiled. At the surface, this is ordinary language, but if you look closely, there is a world of meaning hidden behind this couplet. सुबह तक शमा सर को धुनती रही, सुबह तक शमा सर को धुनती रही, क्या पतंगे ने इल्तमास किया। सुबह तक शमा सर को धुनती रही, क्या पतंगे ने इल्तमास किया। The candle was ecstatic and flickering until the morning. Wonder what entreaties moth made to her. मसाइब और थे पर दिल का जाना, अजब एक सानहा सा हो गया है। मसाहिब और थे पर दिल का जाना, अजब एक सानहा सा हो गया है। There was no dearth of calamities, but at the same time losing heart. It was a strange accident altogether. उसे ढूंढते मीर खोए गए, उसे ढूंढते मीर खोए गए, कोई देखा है इस तजू की तरफ, उसे ढूंढते मीर खोए गए, कोई देखे इस जुस्तजू की तरफ। Mir lost himself in his search. Someone should think about the mystery of his endeavor. पासे नमू से इश्क था वरना, पासे नमू से इश्क था वरना, कितने आंसू पलक तक आए थे। I was concerned about keeping the dignity and restraint as a lover. Otherwise, a lot of tears hit my eyelids. ये तवाहम का कारखाना है, ये तवाहम का कारखाना है, यहाँ वही है जो एतबार किया। वाह वाह वाह, ये तवाहम का कारखाना है, यहाँ वही है जो एतबार किया। This is a world of fantasy. Everything is elusive. Whatever you believe as real is real. चश्म हो तो आईना खाना है दहर, चश्म हो तो आईना खाना है दहर, मुंह नजर आते हैं दीवारों के बीच। चश्म हो तो आईना खाना है दहर, मुंह नजर आते हैं दीवारों के बीच। If you have eyes, this world is like a house of mirrors. You can see faces upon faces in the walls. Another beautiful couplet. शाम से कुछ बुझा सा रहता है, शाम से कुछ बुझा सा रहता है, दिल हुआ है चिराग मुफलिस का। Gloomy since early evening, my heart is no different than a poor man's lamp. This brings us to the third part, Mir as a synthesizer of Persian and Rekhta. Let us look at some couplets that blend Rekhta into a Persian style of ghazal writing. लाया है मेरा शौक मुझे पर्दे से बाहर, लाया है मेरा शौक मुझे पर्दे से बाहर, मैं वरना वही खिलवती राज नेहा हूँ। My passion brought me out from the veil, otherwise I am the same secret, a tiny secret among all the secrets. Another very beautiful couplet. जलवा है मुझी से लबे दरियाए सुखन पर, जलवा है मुझी से लबे दरियाए सुखन पर, सद रंग मेरी मौज है मैं तबे रवा हूँ। I am the spectacle on the shore of the ocean of poetry. My tides show multiple colors and I flow immaculately well. आवार गाने इश्क का पूछा जो मैं निशां, आवार गाने इश्क का पूछा जो मैं निशां, मुश्ते गुबार लेके सबा ने उड़ा दिया। आवार गाने इश्क का पूछा जो मैं निशां, मुश्ते गुबार लेके सबा ने उड़ा दिया। When I inquired the fate of unfortunate forlorn lovers, the wind took hold of a handful of dust and flew it into the air. कुछ गुल से है शगुफ्ता, कुछ सर्व से है कदकश, कुछ गुल से है शगुफ्ता, कुछ सर्व से है कदकश, उसके ख्याल में हम देखे हैं ख्वाब क्या क्या, उसके ख्याल में हम देखे हैं ख्वाब क्या क्या। Some are more cheerful than flowers, some are like cypress trees. Thinking of her beauty, what amazing dreams have I seen. जुल्म है, कहर है, क़यामत है, गुस्से में उसके ज़ेरे लब की बात. It is tyranny, it is an overpowering force, it is doomsday, what she says in great anger under her lips. Now we come to the last part, Mir as Urdu's first complete poet. Mir was Urdu's first all-inclusive complete poet, and his work is truly multidimensional, including those aspects that unfolded in Urdu poetry long after he was gone. There is more Urdudiyat, meaning feel and ambience of Urdu, and Urdupan, meaning refined taste and touch of Urdu in Mir than in any other poet. I have selected some couplets to give you a flavor of Mir's characteristic modes of expression, and it is impossible to ignore the taste, savor and tang of earthly Khadi Boli and Braj Bhasha. So here are a few couplets. जी ढहा जाए है सहर से आह, जी ढहा जाए है सहर से आह, रात गुजरेगी किस खराबी से. जी ढहा जाए है सहर से आह, रात गुजरेगी किस खराबी से. Alas, my heart is crestfallen since the morning. I wonder how awful the night would be. एक ढेरी राख की थी सुबह जाए मीर पर, एक ढेरी राख की थी सुबह जाए मीर पर, बरसों से जलता था शायद रात जलकर रह गया. In the morning, it was just a pile of ash at Mir's place. He was smoldering for years. Probably he went up in smoke last night. सदा हम तो खोए गए से रहे, सदा हम तो खोए गए से रहे, कबू आप में तुमने पाया हमें. सदा हम तो खोए गए से रहे, कबू आप में तुमने पाया हमें. I was in a state of forgetfulness most of the time. Did you ever find me in myself? Mir's true greatness lies in the fact that he was the first major poet to demonstrate the true hidden literary beauty of Urdu language. From the raw vernacular and colloquial green roots in Agra to the Persianized fusion and sophistication of Delhi and mellow sweetness of Awadhi in Lucknow, Mir covered the whole spectrum. Firaq was right when he mentioned that Mir was the voice of whole humanity and the richness of literary, lyrical Urdu poetry. The magic of Mir was felt in all time periods of Urdu's growth and development, and he got the recognition that he deserved by the title Khudaa-e Sukhan, used by one and all. The beauty of his tone and his sensitivity to love and the courage to face human suffering will never diminish. He gave voice to silent moments that language generally ignores, and he drew memorable pictures with words that linger in readers' consciousness long after he stops reading or reciting a couplet or a ghazal. Mir took malleable and nearly half-baked Rekhta of the mid-eighteenth century to new heights, and with this he reached the pinnacle of literary Urdu's poetic and creative journey. Thank you very much for joining me in honoring Mir Taqi Mir on his 300th birth anniversary. Please take some time this year to grab Mir's Diwan in Urdu or Devanagari script and enjoy the great master's poetic work. Or you can get a copy of Hidden Garden by Professor Gopichand Narang which was translated by yours sincerely, and experience the magic of Mir's ghazal poetry both in Urdu and English. Among other things, the book contains a selection of 60 ghazals by Mir. Be well and keep your interest in good literature alive. I'm Surinder Deo saying goodbye.